But it's selfish from my part because you want to have your mother alive.
It's so interesting you said that. It is selfish to want our mother to be alive. Like, that is one thing that I constantly think about.
Because the present, it's a premature stage of a possibility on the future.
Yes, of course, we're still their children. We want our mothers to be alive and remain alive. But at the same time, there's also that equal side to the coin where if it's their time, we can't let them think that they'll be worried about me or have to worry about our pain. Is getting in shape, getting your body stronger, the fitness journey part of your life, is that also still challenging?
No, it's not another demand in my life. It's not a demanding activity. It's an activity that I'm now enjoying.
And why is that? Like, why did it become something you enjoy?
There is nothing more frustrated than going to a fitness coach and expressing my back aches, okay, go to the bike and do 10. No, this guy is not listening.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that's important.
What advice do you have if somebody who's going through the similar situations like you? Welcome back to another episode of Life 42 Plus, where your best years are yet to come. Last podcast I shared, I got a lot of questions. A lot of people resonated with that. So I brought back the same student in her 50s, dealing with aging parents, dealing with personal fitness goals, dealing with a busy work schedule, dealing with raising kids. Let's go take a deeper dive where we share and discuss a lot more. While you're handling your workouts, getting back where you were before you tweaked your neck, you were doing push-ups, lunges, and now we're rebuilding you back up. You're also handling family situation, what I call life. So the question is, while you're handling your mother, who's 90 years old, and you guys are preparing as a family, and you said something interesting, that your family is not of quitters. Your family is of fighters, because your daughter is stepping in for you. But you also said something interesting. Technically, it's your mother, not her mother. So we're
Mm.
all very attached to our mothers, right? We always do. Like, I will kill for my mother,
Mm-hmm.
and I pray I never have to. You have
Mm-hmm.
you have a son, so you understand.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, if it's even answerable, how challenging or difficult it is to accept that you might be the last phase with your mother, who's 90 years old.
Of course, it's difficult, but it's not. I already passed month ago the denial mode. I already passed the acceptance mode. What I'm right now is in the phase of release. Release her. Because when you are attached emotionally in both ways, remember that I'm an only child. When you are attached so intense with a person, and this person, it's evident that the final moment is coming soon, you must step up, step one step back, you step back and do the last uh, gesture, manifestation of love, which is to let that person go in peace, release. Because the other person, as in this case, she feels the intensity of the emotional intensity from me. She is keeping alive, doing every single day, investing a lot of energy to be alive. And on top of her own situation and accepting her future. So if I release, give her confidence that we are going to be okay, I think the things will start to develop in a peaceful way.
So letting go is actually for her. You letting her go and help, and I wish you all the best in your next journey.
Correct.
Is part of the process of allowing the other person to not feel shitty. Oh my God, what's going to happen to my daughter? She's the only child. But if my daughter's like, look, I'm strong, I'm fit, I'm independent, I've got my own life. you must go to your next journey, your next phase, life after death. So you're saying that release is extremely important for the other person.
Yes, for the other person. And for one as well, because it's extremely, extremely hurtful, but peaceful at the same time. It's a very, very difficult balance, because this intensity, emotional intensity in finding the next doctor and hiding nurses and it's intense. And she feels, I talk to her every single day. And now that she's bad, twice a day. So she is trying to keep the pace for my next call.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You
I get
see?
it.
So we are in a situation in which we have fragmented the time in the day in two parts. First call, second call. And she's then trying to manage her energy for the next call. So she keeps representing that she's keeping the pace. But at the same time, I will not, of course, let her alone. But it's selfish from my part because you want to have your mother alive.
Yeah. Right.
So these are my thinking and in the planes.
It's so interesting you said that it is selfish to to want our mother to be alive. Like that is one thing that I constantly think about. My mother is 75, and I mentioned to you, I got her doing glute bridges, I got her doing wall push-ups. I want her to walk. She's traveling in Europe right now with the grandkids, and I always tell her, you got to walk more, get your legs ready. And I invited her for trips with me. But I think you touched on something so important. Like, yes, of course, we're still their children. We want our mothers to be alive and remain alive. But at the same time, there's also that equal side to the coin where if it's their time, we can't let them think that they'll be worried about me or have to worry about our pain. It's almost like you have three kids, right? And
Correct.
you've raised three kids and you want your kids to tell you and assure you that they'll be okay one day. That is what a parent wants, right? A parent does not want to bear the thought of shit, my son or my daughter is not going to be okay without me.
Correct. Correct.
Because that's painful, right?
Oof.
Yeah, you want them to actually almost like ease your pain. I can handle the world. What are you talking about?
Mm.
Go. I made you proud. Go. You turned me into a badass, strong daughter or son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's that. It's that. When you said something about you started accepting this a month ago, I don't know exactly what your words were.
No, it's not a month ago, but it's I started to accepting in the third quarter of last year, and completely accepted by March this year, because in March this year, if you remember, I had to ask you for a week
Oh yeah, yeah,
because she was going for surgery, and oh my God, that such surgery, I thought that she wouldn't make it.
yeah. And then you'd come back and you told me about it.
Yes.
I do recall. Let me ask you something. Accepting mortality, that is a deep topic. So you accepted it a year ago, and
Mhm.
what does that mean to you now that you've accepted mortality? How does that change your viewpoint in life?
Now that we were talking this year on, and I always come back to the same video of the monk that you posted,
Yeah.
the younger
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Yes, the it's the concept and the thing about the present, the living the present.
Mm.
But it's very difficult. It's very difficult because I have a tendency on the present and the future, the present and the future. So putting the future more on a standby mode to concentrate in the present is not easy for me, because I always have been thriving. So this is my present, and my present is connected into the future on these elements. no, finishing the career, having a job, raising a family, the kids, etc. So it was a vision, etc. Now, how did I do I reconcile that? Uh, Remember that I am the second generation of immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
So this thing that many here in the Western Hemisphere that lives without much accountability and responsibility is not for me. That is not for me.
Yeah.
So what I said, I always had a vision, a purpose. No, what I'm doing this to go to this direction, evolve into this phase, etc. So by reading a book, once I found the words that work for me, that is to bring that future into the present. By doing so, I can reconcile to enjoy the present because the present it's a premature stage of a possibility in the future. So I'm working on that.
Okay. So let's pause for a second. I want you to tell me what resonated with you so far. What is it that you can personally identify with, or someone you know? And what is the takeaway, the key takeaway? Make a comment and let me know what the key takeaway so we can all grow forward. Life 42 plus. Let's continue. You know, you mentioned in last week's session that by seeing people close to you lose their physicality, their physical conditions, their ability to move, their strength and everything. It inspired you, motivated you to get in shape, fat loss, strength training, metabolism. You also mentioned that one of your goal is to go hiking because you want to have, and that's why you want to have strong legs and lunges and all that stuff. Let me ask you this question. Is getting in shape, getting your body stronger, the fitness journey part of your life, is that also still challenging? Or have you gotten to a point where like, no, 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 this has now become my fear. This has now become my go-to because anytime I feel stressed or if I can't control anything else in my life, like mortality or like what's going on in the world or whatnot, at least I can get down and work out.
Mm. No, it's not another demand in my life. It's not a demanding activity. It's an activity that I'm now enjoying. So it's not something that shit, I add another obligation to my schedule.
And why is that? Like, why did it become something you enjoy? Or how did it become?
Uh, well, the exercises that you first you do an assessment. So the assessment it's important because I feel respected. It's not like you know those coaches that boom 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 do this boom 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 that boom 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 this group here this group there this the stations I think that they call it. This station does push up, these other lunges, the other group. No. So this massive thing doesn't work for me right now. So the assessment is important. So I feel respected and the exercise have a purpose because you explain, I understand, and I agree. And we practice the exercises and they are doable. So there is nothing more frustrated than going to a fitness coach or advisor and expressing my back aches my okay go to the bike and do 10. No, this guy is not listening.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so that's important. So the exercise is doable and there is a progression. You feel the progression
Mm.
despite life happens. You
Mm.
can still doing the exercise. It's not an activity that means to interrupt the rest of the things that you are doing. For example, I can do it while I'm traveling for work. And also, I enjoy the conversations. So it's all.
It's all. Okay. You know, I always view training, working out, as the go-to, whereas that one thing I can control. I can't control everything else, Mal. We talked about this last that I really believe the longer I live, the more I realize that we really control very little, contrary to what the human being thinks. But I know I can control me getting on the floor, stretching, doing push ups, working out, and going for a walk and listening to a podcast. I know I can control that much,
Mhm.
and I can control what I put in my mouth. So here's the question. What advice do you have if somebody who's going through the similar situations like you, life is challenging all around them? You're traveling for work every week. You had the tough conversations with your mom. You're still handling three kids. They're all grown up, but you're still their mother.
Mhm.
And you have an intense career. And you're working on your fitness and your body. And you're trying to manage all that. But what advice do you have for someone who feels like life is attacking them? I know you're a fighter. I know
Mm.
you said your family is full of fighters. Okay, you're a fighter. I get it. But what advice do you have for someone who needs to listen to something so they can be motivated to fight back? Because everybody has some sort of fight in them. The question is, do they choose to fight, or do they say, you know what, forget it. I'll let my body go. I'll handle this portion of my life first, then I'll come back. And when they come back, it's too late. So, what advice do you have for a woman who wants to learn how to fight from you?
Mm. Usually, I found that the people that says, "Well, I give up," and I release the pressure to manage my own destiny to random, to whatever is going to happen randomly. And I am releasing that because it's easy for me that someone else um, decides for me. And it, I feel, although I know that it's a no return path, I relax myself and I release the pressure I have to take my own decision. So, um, what happens with that pattern is that the people think that by ceding control, they will face every single day a different situation randomly that they will still enjoy or manage the situation. What they don't understand that when they cede control to someone else or some other situation, or they cede control of the destiny to random events, one day what others decide is terrible. It's not a degree that is, well, more okay. In the balance of ceding the pressure versus facing the uncertainty, this other path of facing the uncertainty has been better than still feeling the pressure until this uncertainty becomes a devastated event. And in that moment, either you want it or not, you have to retake control of your destiny.
Yeah.
And it's much, much harder. So they think that it's to sit control of your life is linear.
Mm,
It will be an addition of minor random events.
mm,
This
mm.
uncertainty is not so bad. It's not linear. So what I have done for me is to fragment. First, identify the different pieces of the problem or problems: health, money, self esteem, career, emotional relationships, the marriage, the kids, whatever
Mm.
that causes the frustration. Identify which are those elements. And this is very personal because might be that someone doesn't like the appearance, his or her appearance, and that's a tragedy for that person. And you see the person and say, no, but this is a regular person. It's not ugly, it's not super beauty, but it's not ugly. So it's very, very personal. And you have to respect the relevance of that image or problem for that person. But the way I used to handle those problems is divided in mini fragments, and fragments in the timeline. So when my father had an Alzheimer earlier on, or now my mother that is very ill, I fragmented the day in 2 or 3 pieces. Early morning, then from 11 to 3, then from 3 to night, and then the night. So every fragment has the opportunity, let's say, to succeed or
Mm.
not. But it's very difficult that in a series of days, you cannot find a fragment in which the situation that you want to solve succeeds or what you want to try is successful.
Mm.
So these minor successes helps you to get out from the mud when your feet are stuck in the mud.
Okay, okay.
So instead of I have to solve my marriage or improve my marriage, well, how do you do that? It's so wide, no? So start, but mini fragments, and I use the fragments as tiny as parts of the day. So that helps you not to evaluate and to see as an option the possibility to cede control of your life to a random event or someone else.
Yeah.
I still have the opportunity to keep control by managing small chunks.
Well, this is something that a lot of the peak performers they talk about. They're like, let's control one step and the next step, and then let's go that way. But how did you learn this emotional regulation? How did you get, or was it just life taught you that?
Because when I was very young, at 19, 20 years, I started to work full time and study while I was studying at college. So full time is that I work at one of these big consultants companies. So those were grueling hours, like in the investment banking. Sometimes you have to work at 3, 4 a.m. in the morning, and I have my attend classes in the university from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., then back to work. And then I took classes from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. And then there was one semester in which I have to attend classes on Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Oh, God.
So one of those days, I got back home and I didn't know what was happening to me. If I was thirsty or starving, or if I want a shower, or if I want to sleep. It was an overwhelming situation. So I said, no, if I take a shower, I will eat in maybe half an hour or 40 minutes. No, what is more important? Having something to eat. So I started to resolve in these, very, let's say, this is regular things, minor things, adding up. So once I ate something, I said, no, I need to sleep now. But I take a shower and then I sleep better. And then, this worked out. So I have now 3 pieces.
Okay, gotcha.
And then I woke up the day I took a long nap and I woke up at 6 p.m. and I drink mate. No, this.
Yep, I know what that is.
Tea infusion that we drink in Argentina, and then started to add pieces, and it worked out. And then I replace and I do an MBA in the same way.
Okay.
When I was ending the MBA, I realized I was pregnant.
Oh,
I got married before entering into the MBA, etc. So then I replace the education piece, the hours spent at college, by raising the family.
So you've had no breaks.
No. And in those early days in which you don't have money and you live on a budget, so I learned from a colleague at work that she had already 3 kids and a husband. And she was earning more than me, but she had already 3 kids and more expenses. So she designed in a schedule the different meals during the week: breakfast, lunch, snacks, dinner. And she made the supermarket list backwards. and how much it will cost the week to have these meals. But by starting with the meals, she ensured nutritious food, good food, etc., and then started to see the cost and say, "Oh, this is very interesting." So
Um,
this was another thing to resolve a very, routine, daily routine that seems stupid routine, but it helped me learn how to work backwards in many pieces.
yeah,
So she had very good tricks about nutrition food
yeah.
without spending too much.
Yeah, so from student to working full time to MBA to getting pregnant, marriage, raising kids, and then helping your mom out. And you helped your husband out. I do remember that. Now working out, fitness. Oh my God.
But if I was not doing that, when I was in my first maternity leave, 11 weeks, and I was getting bored at home. I made everyone crazy. So I went to these, the meetings of the building administration. I proposed how to do the building, the better building to live in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I remember the faces of the older people. So at some point, one guy that was there, he took me apart and he used to work in Procter and Gamble. I said, Carolina, you and I were trained in the same way in different multinationals.
Yeah.
So what you are talking is about this and that. Yes, yes. But these poor people, they don't get it. And he was laughing out loud. So go back to work. Go back to work.
No wonder you're very resilient and strong. No wonder, because life is giving you battles and you just handled it like a champ. So you have a lot of strength, you have a lot of resiliency, and you're at a point where you're about to get stronger
Mm.
again. So that wraps up another podcast this week, Life 42 Plus, your best years are yet to come. Just remember, the decisions you make today shape the next 5, 10, 15, 20, or 30 years and beyond. So what decisions are you going to make today? What actions are you going to take today? Comment, subscribe. Until next podcast, Coach Adam, be strong.